position so many of you requested me to do a tutorial about, and it's the invert. In this tutorial I will cover the basic inverting technique from the floor, aerial inverting, also some conditioning exercises, and also inverting on spinning pole. So for me, the invert is kind of the technique or the transition that divides beginner polars from intermediate polars. I usually teach inverts at the end of my beginner classes, right before we are advancing into intermediate level. But important is, inverting cannot be done without conditioning for inverting. So we really have to build up muscles, we have to build up our abs, our arms, our upper body, and prepare ourselves to go upside down. So don't pressure yourself to get this trick very quickly or get it the first time you try it. It really needs some time. So I'm going to show you the technique first, and then I'm going to break it down. So when inverting, this is what we're going to do. So if you've never done it before, listen carefully now. First of all, we are starting by bringing our hip in front of the pole. We're doing this because we don't want to start our invert here, running and swinging ourselves up. As soon as you swing yourself up, you're not using power, but you're using a lot of motion, and it can actually injure especially your arms and your upper body, and you can pull your muscles, so we don't want to do it. We want to use our abs and our upper arms. So bring your bum in front of the pole to prevent yourself from any jumping or swinging actions. Then grab the pole by wrapping your arm tightly around the pole. Really press your upper arm against the pole. Use this one. This is a grip point. Don't just use your hands, also use your upper arm. Really grab the pole tight. Now important, don't grab too high. I see a lot of my girls doing this. If you grab up this high, you need to pull yourself all this way up. So make it easy and grab round eye high. Also important when inverting, our inside hand is below, our outside hand is above, and try to keep them close together. If one hand is very up in the air and the other one back down, you will probably not be able to get up, as you always have to lift yourself as high as your upper hand is, so keep your hands close together. Also, you shouldn't grab too low. Grabbing too high will be too difficult, and grabbing too low, especially if you're standing up straight, might also be too difficult. So I'm grabbing about the same height as my eyes are, and you will be good to go. When first inverting, you are tucking your knees in, pulling them up, and then you're looking back and turning upside down. So before going upside down, please have in mind that your arms have to stay bent all the time. They're like doing this motion, but they're not completely stretching out. This is very important because especially if you're doing this swing motion, usually people end up, I don't want to do it, I'm just trying to show you one time. When you swing up and you're straightening your arms, you actually lose the power in your grip, and also you lose this piece of extra grip. So really make sure to keep your arms bent. I know especially if you don't have the power yet, they might want to straighten down, but fight against it, really. So again, bum in front of the pole, grab your arms tight around the pole, and then tuck your legs up as high as you can. Make yourself as small as you can. And then important, look back, because when looking back, you will automatically get in the direction you want to go to turn upside down. If you continue facing forward, you will not be leaning back, and you will not turn upside down. So when you're here, tuck your legs and start looking backwards. And as you can see, I'm kind of automatically turning upside down, and then I'm straightening my leg and I'm hanging in there. And as you probably can see, my arm is still bent, and this is how you want to do your first basic invert. So if you're trying this for the first time, you will probably not be able to fully turn right now. You will probably be here and try it, and you will be stuck here. And you know what? That's absolutely okay. This is actually the best conditioning exercise you could probably do. We are doing basic pole push-ups by just grabbing the pole and starting to pull our legs up and down. This is the best exercise. It's so simple and everyone can do it. And even if you're here, it's totally fine. We have to start somewhere. Before I did my first invert, I had a half year of pole training, just doing spins and basic climbs, like nothing fancy, spinning and climbing. I couldn't do any tricks. I could do layback and that's it. Climbing, sitting, layback, spinning. This was all I did for half a year. And when I then tried to pull myself into an invert, I was actually able to do it because I built up a lot of strength by spinning. So practice your basic spins, practice pull-ups, and then you will be able to tuck your legs one day and turn upside down. Important if you are already able to get upside down. Also use the time when getting back down to really do it slowly and use your abs. It's so important. So we are pulling up, making ourselves small, upside down, and when coming back, again small and down. Use all the way up and down again. Also, what I don't want to see, so many people are doing it, don't cheat. Don't cheat yourself up onto the pole. You really want to practice the most beautiful, most clean lines, and what we don't want to see is, oh, I can almost do it, I'm grabbing the pole and I'm somehow pulling myself into outside leg hang or crucifix hang or whatever, but we don't want to see this pulling action. I know it's sometimes like a little trick if you can almost make it, but as soon as your leg touches the pole and you pull yourself up with the leg, you're actually taking the ability from yourself to build up abs, to build up strength in your arms. So really try to just use these powers we have over here, and also it doesn't really look beautiful, to get your leg around the pole and pull yourself up. So try to really go up into a clean invert, and hey, if you can't turn upside down yet, it's not a big deal. Just try again, and the more often you will try with correct technique, the faster you will actually be able to do beautiful invert. So, if you already are able to stay here, push with your arm and beautifully turn upside down, you can start practicing it to get one leg straight. It actually doesn't matter which leg you keep straight, just choose for yourself. And we're getting up, we're now wanting to keep our inside leg straight. We're getting up, tucking one leg, and the other one gets up and into invert. It's a beautiful variation, and these one leg variations will actually help ourselves if we advance to spinning pole. So make sure to practice these one straight leg inverts as soon as you feel confident with the tucked in like little ball invert. You can also do it with the other leg straight, outside leg stays straight, the other one tucks in, and we're going upside down, pointing our feet and down again. And as you can see, my arm stays slightly bent in all the variations. So, difficulty number 3, we did tucked invert, we did one leg straight, one leg tucked. We are now going up to both leg straight inverts, and this is so much harder than the tucked one, but believe in yourself. If you've done a lot of conditioning, you will probably be able to get this variation. Again, butt in front of the pole, grab the pole. It's also a trick to slightly lean back, because the further you already lean back, the less you actually have to lift yourself up. So it may also help if you can step a little step forward, but actually I prefer completely standing up. For me, it doesn't make a big difference, but if you feel better, step a bit forwards. Now we're keeping our knees as straight as possible. Please don't forget to point your toes, and we're now already looking back, legs are going up, hold the V-place position, and again, when coming down, take your time. So very important, there is bent leg, there is one leg bent, one leg straight, and there's 2 straight legs. What there should never ever be is this. This is just a try to get up. It's also conditioning your legs and your abs and your belly, but I guess we're all in one opinion, we shouldn't do this. So if you're not ready to straighten out your legs, please practice these one leg inverts first, and don't force yourself to do a straight leg invert and end up doing kind of this thing here. So just make sure your knees and your toes are perfectly pointed. And also if you're doing the tucked version, make sure when you're in inverted position, you're not here flexing your foot, you're pointing the toes and pointing them and coming down too. So now we've done some inverting from the floor and probably we want to move up in the air right now. And sometimes it happens you're trying the invert from the air and you are absolutely sure you can do it from the floor and still we don't get it. Why? Because sometimes from the floor, even if we don't notice it, you can't see it, you're sometimes using a little swing motion or you're doing this tiny little jumping up. Everything fine as long as you don't swing your leg around. Please don't try to do it with the jump or with the swing, but it's just what we naturally do. So how are we conditioning ourselves to actually get our invert up in the air? So what I love to teach my students is grabbing higher when inverting, the thing I told you not to do when you first learn it, but when you try to advance and learn the air invert, you can actually try grabbing up higher. And what we want to do now is not directly getting into invert, but first of all pulling ourselves up into the air. Again, as you can see, my arm is going around the pole, so I'm not pulling up and my arm is standing away from the pole. I'm pulling myself up into the same position I would have down here, so I want to have the exact same position I would have on the floor, up in the air. So pull yourself up and then try to repeat the motion you did on the floor. So we're here, we're pulling up. You can first practice to do pole crunches, and if you feel good, you can actually go upside down, and when coming down again, as you see, I'm first holding myself up in the air again with a bent arm and then lowering down into standing position. I'm trying to show you from another perspective. I'm grabbing up high, pulling myself up into air invert, down again, and down on the floor. And this is actually what an air invert should look like. So when practicing conditioning for it, first conditioning exercise is just learning to pull yourself up, and if you're strong enough, maybe adding this little tuck variation. You can also do the tucks with straight leg or with straddle leg, but just try tucking, and on one day you will maybe feel powerful enough to do the full turn. But this is actually the most effective aerial invert conditioning exercise I know. And of course, if you feel strong enough, you can add any leg variation, straight leg, bent leg, one leg bend, onto the aerial invert. So again, you can also do it from a climbing position. We can go up, hold ourselves, bring our body in front of the pole. We're hanging here. My arm is bent, both arms are bent. Straight legs, lean backwards, and we're into our aerial invert. And when coming down, don't forget to pause and then lower yourself back down on the floor. It may take time to get this aerial invert. It took me really some months to come from floor invert to aerial invert, as it really takes even more muscles in your upper arms, in your abs. But you can always practice it by just from here, grabbing a tiny bit higher and really only trying your invert, like on your tippy toes, just a little bit up in the air. And you will see if you try it, like after your training, you do 5 inverts. Don't forget to do both sides. Do 5 inverts or even 3 on each side, it's already a lot. Do 5 or 3 and you will see progress in a few weeks. If it's difficult for you to hold yourself like in the aerial hanging position, you can also start from like figurehead or hood ornament, however you call it, because you actually do have a safety spot. You have your legs helping you, they're tucked on, and you can really sort your arms out the way you want them to have, and then start inverting up from figurehead. If you want to go there, you're climbing up once and you have to bring yourself to one side and hook the inside leg from front to back. You should already be able to do the figurehead or hood ornament before trying to invert out of it. I guess kind of makes sense. So we're getting up. We're going to the side where our upper arm is. So we're going below our upper arm. hooking the leg into figurehead position. We are now correcting our hands, and the most power is on my leg right now. You see? And from here, we can go up into invert and back down again, even in figurehead position if you'd like. And last thing is straightening our arms. So this was already a lot about basic invert, about aerial invert, some conditioning exercises, basically every cartwheel, every fan kick, every actually basic spin, chair spins, fireman spins, are perfectly fine preparation for your inverting. But don't forget to do pull-ups and also conditioning your abs. And please, never do swinging or jumping exercises when inverting. So I don't want to hear something like swing mount because it already rings my ear. It's so easy to injure yourself when swinging or jumping up, so please skip that. If you're ready to do an aerial invert, we are advancing to spinning pole. When practicing your inverts on spinning pole, you should actually be able to do aerial inverts because most of the time when entering inverted positions, you actually have to be in the air to continue the spinning motion. So make sure to practice your aerial inverts before trying to invert on spinning pole. I'm going to switch my pole now. My pole is on spinning mode now, and we get two options to invert. So option number one is spinning forwards. Would be if you were trying to get up this side, you would walk this way around, like in this direction where you're facing. This would be inverting forwards. And there's the option to invert backwards, again on this side, but just if you would walk backwards. So I personally find it actually easier to invert backwards, but it's like a personal feeling. I don't really think one is easier than the other. It's just what you're probably most used to do or just feel like works better for you. So I'm going to start explaining turning backwards. Why I think it's easier, because when you first try it, you can actually easily try it from the floor by just letting yourself fall backwards and just try holding this inverting pose by just practicing where your hands need to go. And as you can see, I can't directly invert up. I first have to slightly hold the pose in the air, and that's why I said it is better to first practice aerial inverts before trying it on spinning mode. But of course it's possible to start from the floor here and directly go into the spinning motion with your invert, but you will probably have a harder time. So conditioning, again, is key. I said it so many times, but it's so important. So when inverting here, we're using the same technique as in static mode by just letting ourselves fall backwards. So we're grabbing the pole, we're letting ourselves fall backwards, and we're already into the inverted pose to come back down. I'm slightly turning myself towards the pole, and I'm back down to the pole. I think it looks very gorgeous to fold yourself to the pole, fold your leg towards your upper body when coming back down, and you do have a beautiful circle. You could do the same motion going up, like leaning yourself a bit towards the pole and opening up. This would already be a variation of inverting, so I'm going to show you once. I think it works best by falling backwards. We're leaning ourselves into the pole, and we're opening up into invert and back down again. Important again to keep your arm around the pole. I know it's difficult when falling backwards and bending around the pole, but you can do it. Try it out. And again, when spinning backwards, I right now did it with one straight leg, one bent leg. You can do the variation however you like. You can also do the sideways invert with the tuck position, like going backwards, tucking the legs in, leaning backwards, opening up, and also tucking them back down and to the floor. Of course, you're also able to do the invert without like the slightly bending inwards motion, just by keeping everything straight, turning backwards, and inverting up into our inverted V position. So let's move on to our forward spinning invert. In my personal opinion, it's the most difficult one, as you have a bit more difficulty to control the speed. Before going up, you can't just let yourself fall into it, as you can do spinning backwards and automatically rotate the pole. You probably have to do a few steps, and before getting up, you definitely have to lift yourself up from the floor. So if you're not completely safe in aerial inverting yet, it's probably easier to practice the backwards spinning method first before trying the forwards one, because it's absolutely impossible to do forward steps from the floor without jumping or swinging. You have to be super safe in it, and it's always, for your muscles, for your health, the better option to lift yourself up and then do the invert. I'm now trying to show you the difference, and this one will be how not to do it. This will be far away step, you're trying to get speed and then directly invert, and as you can see, I'm getting a lot of speed. It's super difficult to hold up, and I'm instantly sliding down the pole. So this is actually not what we want to do. What we want to do is keep the pole spinning by taking a few steps. Our outside hand is up. We're pulling ourselves up, grabbing around the pole. We're slightly wrapping ourselves around the pole, and from here we're up into invert and again down. So what we want to do is a little conditioning exercise for this forward spinning invert. We're going to do our little tucks. And now I want you to focus on your body position around the pole. Because in inverting, we usually look straight through our, little window through our arms. What you want to do instead now is wrap yourself around the pole and look to the other side. Invert is actually possible in both variations. You can invert here or here, but I find it a lot easier looking to this side. So I'm going to show you a little tuck variation. Again, we're doing our steps. We're lifting ourselves up, press with your arm, you're looking to the other side, and you're practicing these little leg push-ups. And if you feel good to go, you can go directly into invert from your push-ups. If you are good to go with your tucks, you can try inverting. I find it actually the easiest to keep my inside leg bent. You can do both variations like tucked in or straight legs, but I find it easiest to keep my inside leg bent, and the other one is optional to you. Of course, it's more difficult to straighten it up, but I don't feel like it makes a lot of difference. So we're again trying to find a bit of motion. We're getting into our position. Here, inside leg is bending, the other one comes up, and we're already into our inverted position, doing the same, getting down, and all the time my arm is kept bent. I said it so many times, but it's important because this is the key on how to really have a good grip and prevent your muscles from getting injury, and also prevent yourself from slipping down. So even in inverted position, really pull yourself down with the hands, and your bum goes up, and always look back. It's so important. As soon as you try to face the ceiling, I'm trying to show you now, you will probably go back down. Here, if I'm trying to look forward or to the ceiling, I have such a hard time, but when I'm really having the power, the courage to turn myself upside down and look back, it's so much easier. So you probably remember when spinning backwards, we did this sideways rotation. This is also what we want to do right now. In the last invert turn I kept myself quite straight in front of the pole, and I just looked sideways. You're also able to twist yourself into the pole and then rotate up in kind of a fan wheel, and it looks absolutely cool. My cat is now looking into the camera. Nope, he's staying away from it, okay. And we're now going sideways up. Watch me one time. We're going, pull yourself up, sideways, one leg, second leg, and you're into a beautiful inverted fan wheel. And this is my absolute favorite option, as I think it's totally beautiful to add a little fan wheel. This is the most advanced version included in this tutorial. So I talked a lot of similar technique. Always push with your upper arm, condition your abs, condition your upper arms, and try out as many invert variations as you like. I hope I could answer all of your questions. If not, please feel free to just contact me and ask me everything about inverting you probably still want to know. And yeah, have fun trying. I'm super excited to